Hi, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. Mike, we are a couple of games into the Justin Faulk experiment, and man, what a roller coaster that I muted him. Haha, yeah.
Oh, Matt, the annual tradition. No, not St. Patrick's Day. No, not March Madness. Red Wing March swoon season is upon us here as we roll into the post-February doldrums. Matt, another season seemingly on the brink of collapse as we lose key center number 2.
Woo!
What a big day. Matt, how are things in the Casa de Matt?
Well, you know what? The house is doing fine. I like Revs and Roddies, though. Like, as a Red Wings fan, this is how I feel, is the here we go. It's that's a Joker from The Dark Knight. But I mean, that's not necessarily what Revs and Roddies is referencing here. Of course, what he's referencing, Mike, is a last 2 minutes of the game collapse when the Red Wings absolutely needed it. And don't look now, but the Buffalo Sabres decided that when they're in a tough game that matters, they punch your teeth out and score 8 goals. So, we're gonna have a fun conversation because I'll tease this, Mike. I have one slide in here dedicated to the New Jersey Devils shutout.
That was a fun game. I like that.
That was nice. Yeah.
I like that. Can we get more of that?
I'd love it, honestly. But
Revs and Roddies with 2 early bids for comment of the episode saying, can we please sit rest the rest of the season? If you guys have ever wondered what it would look like if Matt and I were on the ice for the Red Wings with 5 minutes to go and had to take an important face-off and then just kind of stand clueless on the ice the last couple minutes while the other team scored, Big Ras said, hold my beer. And he get out there and did as good a job as Matt and I could do.
This was like a who's who of guys that we want off this team because Bernard Docker turned. I was cracking the joke. Wow, this guy's going to get 1 minute the third period. That's how much Todd McClellan loves him. It's how much he loves himself some JBD. However, Jacob could not clear the goddamn puck. So he got himself like 2.5 minutes in that one shift. And
it's a smart way to get ice time. Yeah, just don't get the puck out of your own zone. And then you get to tell mom and dad, hey, I was on the ice for some huge minutes in that third period. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't lead the team in time on ice, but I had the longest shift today, Dad. It's amazing.
Well, let's go to the next slide here because it kind of breaks down the big collapse.
So here's what's going on, guys. Like, that game could have ended 3-2. Florida's mounting their comeback or what have you.
They mounted us all right. But go ahead.
Right. Why does that phrase sound wrong right now? Here, this is appropriate too, Jared, thrown out there. The thumbnail should have been Michael Scott from The Office yelling, "No!" So that game should have been out of hand. It should have been the Red Wings winning handily, regardless of Larkin being out, because every podcast that came out that morning that revolves around hockey was, well, I guess the Panthers are tanking. I actually focused on my kids for the first period. I put them to bed last night because I said, we're going to win. I don't need to be checked into this. We're going to play a solid game. We're going to get out of here with a win. And let's talk about some of the realistic aspects of this too. There's the injury to Kopp that made this really rough, and you could see the guys were tired. And then apparently too many men on the ice that Todd McClellan called out in an article, which it's kind of out of character for Todd McClellan to call that out. But there are those realities. But regardless, I asked the question in the title of this episode. The Red Wings are collapsing again. March is becoming a nightmare. And I put the question mark on there. Are we Are we in for another horrible March? Because this isn't how you're supposed to lose games. You could have held on to this and gotten that 1 point, and not even that happened. It was just a complete collapse in this game. And the fact that it mirrors what we're doing in the standings right now should not put anybody in the position to feel confident about the rest of this March. And anybody who's pushing back and saying this team is different, I would challenge you to double check those rosters again.
They might be different next Thursday, but that's a lot of tumbling that we get to do in the meantime. So we only got a point against Vegas, who hadn't beat anybody since November. Then Florida recently off, and I'm going off of last week. Florida recently off a 5-game losing streak. Got just the antidote, a little Red Wing hockey to win 3-1. Then New Jersey, God bless you for making us feel less like Chicken Little. Then the collapse yesterday, and just looking at our immediate future, Tampa on the road, Dallas on the road. So it could quickly become 2 points out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Not ideal, especially with how crunched up these standings are. So it's just, this is a tough game, right? When you lose dudes mid-game, especially arguably your number one center for that game with Larkin being out. Man, knowing that you could potentially be going Copless and Larkinless and definitely Perronless for the next couple games here. It was a huge 2 points to not have, right? If you had held on to that game, then maybe sky's not falling as much, right? Because then you'd be looking at 2 points against Nashville, a point against Vegas, a poo-poo against Florida, but then you beat New Jersey and Florida in the rematch. It doesn't look as bleak, but man, knowing what's ahead of us and knowing that we blew this, it's just so easy to snowball. And knowing that this team, has the mental toughness of a Peter Parker before he gets bit by a spider, I don't know what they're going to do with this looming schedule ahead. I don't know how offensively they're going to keep up, and defensively winning faceoffs and two of their better defenders in Larkin and Kopp. It's a tall order. John Gibson is probably going to have to play the next 2 best games in a Red Wing sweater. Apologies to Todd McClellan. He's going to have to absolutely steal 2 games here before we kind of get reinforcements next week at home.
I do like Dan B throwing out there because we'll get into the Justin Faulk trade because, Mike, we haven't gotten your thoughts yet. When St. Louis wins the lottery with our unprotected pick, I'm moving to India and becoming a monk.
There's going to be a whole busload of us going out there with you, Dan. So I think that's a good idea.
I like the idea of the NHL selling the legitimacy of their draft lottery. Like when we win the draft lottery with that pick and Gary gets to turn around and say, see, you would have won. You shouldn't have traded away the pick, but you would have won. Your name finally would have come up. But anywhoozles, I'm gonna go back to slide number 2 because
real quick, Jared saying the bus to India. Yeah, one of those, like a duck bus. You get it can float, it can go on land. 2026 is a hell of a year, Jared. Get on a duck bus.
Yeah, I like Jared throw it out there. I made the comment of there's still the question mark. Is this March becoming a nightmare? And Jared's like, what question mark? Like Jared's out. He's like, it's here. And there's an argument to be made. Certainly Andrew Kopp going down in your first line, second line center, which if we roll the clock back, we go back the last couple of years, it was Larkin 2 years ago, Kopp last year goes down in late February, and we're relying on Jared says, no, fool, your title doesn't have a question mark. Doesn't it? Doesn't it have a question mark? It's Red Wings playoffs slipping, another collapse. Oh, my thumbnail does, but the title doesn't. All right. Thumbnail has the question mark, but whatever.
Right. I pity the fool. Matt, continue.
Andrew Kopp goes down. I mean, that's the argument to be made. Like, regardless of how much hope you have for the rest of the season, Larkin and Copp being down has to kind of put in your head like, oh my God, this is happening again. Like that's not necessarily a Steve didn't put in the effort to bring in a defenseman. Of course, Mike, I'm pretty sure we just spent the last 2 months saying we needed more forward depth, but you know, whatever.
There's an incredible image that FanDuel Sports caught. Pour one out for FanDuel Sports on borrowed time right now. After Copp went down with that injury, McClellan, you could see him going down the bench and poking guys on the back like, I'm going to need you to step up. I'm going to need you to step up. And basically everyone he told to step up, stepped down and completely collapsed. So it was the opposite of what we wanted. But just one for the season end highlight reel, or I guess maybe low light reel if we end up not making the playoffs. There's poor McClellan's message just going unheard. And Rass, man, did he have some rough moments in those last couple minutes.
Yeah, the line items here would be, like what went wrong in this game, and it's not really going to make you feel great because one of the mistakes was by Simon Edvinsson. We won't mention what trades he may or may not have been a part of in December.
We won't even mention Avenue Q. Don't even worry about
it. Todd's description of the play was, some guys, they see that empty net, they want to score a goal. In that moment, I'd rather guys, their instinct was to just hit the glass and get the puck out of the zone and let your team reset. And that was, for all intents and purposes, pretty conservative take from Todd. You figure in the past he's called guys jerseys out on the ice, which I think we saw great representation of JBD and Rasmussen playing those roles yesterday. But the other part that really stung was Chris Osgood's take on the 4-3 goal. And it really scared me because, Mike, we've also been looking at our J Fresh cards for Justin Faulk. And Chris Osgood said on the 4-3 goal, it was a weak play by Justin. He's got to play a little bit tighter on the puck. And essentially his weak play led to the deflection off his own stick because he let a full shot come through, as opposed to playing a little bit tighter on the puck, playing a little bit tighter on his man, and not letting it be such a clean look. Giving John Gibson more of a clear view would have also helped as well. So the problem I have, and the reason that scares me, is obviously we're only 2 games into the Justin Faulk experiment, but this is exactly what we saw in the J Fresh cards that we'd been talking about the last couple of months here. And those that scares me. Do I have the maybe I don't. I was thinking I had the chart from that game, but maybe I don't. All right. Oh, there it is. All right. So here's the scary part of Justin Faulk. I'm going to blow this up so everybody,
blow it up.
Can see it.
There you go. Oh,
we have our game score breakdowns, and basically what was called out was, and we saw it. We saw Justin put one in the back of the net. It's not like that didn't happen. But the problem was just that there's not going to be enough to even it out, and you'll eventually see the negative score come about. So think about how Justin Faulk was one of the guys who put the puck in the back of the net, but he actually comes away from this game, and I got to lean in there, but it's a negative 0.89 game score because of how horrible, and you can kind of see he's leading the way for the entire team. How horrible his 5-on-5 on ice play was. And it's not a pairing thing. Look at Ben Sherratt. Ben Sherratt looks fine. But everybody else has to look at this Justin Faulk.
Can I ask you
here? And I wouldn't say that should make you feel more confident. Go ahead.
I do want to hit on some other stuff too, but subjectively, Matt, do you feel like Patrick Kane had a good game yesterday?
Mike,
because I know
that
they pulled the stat up. They pulled the stat up that he's got like 28 points in his last 26 Panther games, something like that.
Yeah.
I bought the jersey because I thought Showtime was fun. Are we kind of hoping this is the last Kane year?
I think he's lost his legs. I don't see it anymore. I don't see the danger.
I was honestly surprised when Ken Daniels said that's goal number 10 for Showtime, double digits, and I was like, double digits? My God, he hasn't missed that much time. So it's just he's not scoring, and we know he's not playing any defense. I think that gamer log just kind of reminded me and surprised me that he performed as well as he did, because it feels like Kopp and DeBrincat kind of carry that line. And I'm glad that Kane is kind of there on the coattails. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy to see Kopp, DeBrincat, Sider playing really well.
Yeah, Revs and Roddy's throws out there. To be fair, most teams wouldn't survive losing their first and second line centers. I don't know if we're making the argument that this team sucks. I think we're making the argument that, oh shit, who would have seen this coming? But all of us that have experienced the last 3 years and saw one of these centers go down with an injury, and maybe we've been kind of highlighting a couple of spots where we could have brought in a center. Not only a center that was available and would have given you a little bit more depth up the middle, but some elite scoring potential as well. So Revs, yeah, this isn't an argument to say that the team sucks. It's an argument.
What my pushback is for Revs,
yeah,
most teams wouldn't survive losing their first and second line centers. That's why I think we're probably going to lose until Larkin and Kopp come back. But we weren't asking that assembly of dudes to carry a whole game. I just needed like 8 minutes out of you.
Right.
Can you hold on to a lead with a couple minutes left and not take any risks? We're just going to turtle here for 8 minutes, just try and prevent anything bad from happening, nothing positive. It just bums me out, Revs, because I think you're right. We're in big trouble against Tampa and Dallas. I have no earthly idea how we're going to score any goals. But, man, it really bums me out. We couldn't play defense against the Panthers when they were missing their entire first line, and we still just couldn't hold them out. It makes me sad.
I think we do need to mention the Marco Kasper, Emmett Finney play. Like, for guys that I've struggled with a little bit this year, I thought Kasper really stepped up. And if we're gonna be spending a lot of this episode a little worried, a little scared, I think it's absolutely take a moment to highlight this beauty, and not to mention the pass from Finney on point. Like that little boop. Beautiful.
Yeah, because I know that, he would have been one of the names floated around for a big trade. So I think that just makes me feel a little bit better to see him. He did look like he stepped up right when it looked like things were getting dire in the third period. So I think you can definitely be happy with retaining him.
And that's something that comes back to like last year when Kopp goes down, Kasper stepped up. This is a guy, at least now, in 8 minutes this year and last second half of the season, he's had his moments where he's been challenged to step up, and we've seen some pretty positive play from that. I just if you didn't have the stinkers of a first half last year and then, man, more than a first half this year, you wouldn't necessarily be playing this game, and maybe some other moves could have been made that
Well, we're going to dive into the trade deadline, and Ken saying Faulk was out there for 3. The honeymoon is quickly over. Woo! So yeah, we're going to touch base on that for a sec. And then whiskey thrown out there. But I'm gonna throw out there, anytime there's a mention of poo, it usually gets nominated for a comment of the episode. I hope the equipment staff was able to get the poo stains out of JBD's equipment after last night. I swear that guy pooped his pants 5 times in the third after horrible turnovers. Yeah, so did I. I couldn't believe we were going to blow that game. And then Jared, I liked one that he threw out there too. The team that was at the bottom of the list for man games lost heading into the break. It means we were already in this precarious position at the top of the division, mostly healthy outside of a couple week stretch with Kane and then Edvinsson. The blood god finally remembered us. And man, it couldn't have come at a worse time, Jared. Was there one more I had for you? Oh, well, I mean, Keefe. Welcome, Keefe. I don't think we've seen Keefe in a minute. How you doing, Keefe? Saying Appleton, Comfer, and Rass all need to be jettisoned off this team next year. I think Appleton's going to linger because he's pretty cheap, but Comfer and Rass, man, oh man, are they a couple of? We're inventing a new derogatory term in sweater wearers. A couple of sweater wearers over there. But Matt, what was that next slide that you had for us? I saw you had one cranked up for us.
Well, I like with Jared's call out too. This is actually, I've had a pretty busy day, but I guess I'm just now seeing this too. But we should call out Dries, Leonard, Trail Marks, all getting the call up. I always call them Trail Marks. It's Trailmix. Tralmaks. Trailmix. It's just
we're calling them checks, right?
It doesn't make sense.
Dry cereal and M&Ms. Come on up.
It's not trail mix, so
it is for me.
There you go. Aboard. Yeah, you can call them whatever you want. Honestly.
All right.
All right. So back to the slide. But Jared doing again his wonderful job producing the show. Well, where were we? Deadline fallout, Mike. We haven't gotten your thoughts. I summed up the trade deadline with my thoughts being some moves were made to bring in guys to fit roles that they've always been filling, not necessarily upgrades over what the normal role would be filled with. So now you've got, instead of trying to pretend that you have a guy who works in a second pair, or we're looking at that third pair and thinking that's legitimate, you brought in a guy who fits in the second pair. It's just, this is one of those where it's like, this feels so much better if this Justin Faulk deal was more about Justin fitting in the third pair, because we had something else working out. But no, we're just sort of bringing in Justin Faulk, who on another team, maybe one more successful, they're bringing in a player to replace him. So it's just, it is one of those things where it's like, that's where the excitement shouldn't really, like, you should just kind of feel like, okay, we did something to get this roster a little bit more respectable. But to jump out of your jeans or make a mess in there over Justin Faulk, I don't know if you know how to rightly assess players. You could be excited about like a trade actually happened. But the other part of this too, where I give Faulk sort of that assessment, you also traded away a no conditions first round pick, a second round pick, everybody's beloved Bashelnikov. He's gone. Yeah, it's really weird to see that was the extent of what you had to give up to bring in Faulk. Especially when you look at the David Perron deal, where it's like, Perron, if he never plays a game, the trade is null and void. Like, they just go, didn't happen. And then the Wings, I think it's turns into a third if they go into the second round, or it stays a fourth. And it's just like, that's a couple phone calls, right? Like, that was like a couple, like, all right, Perron, but this. And then Ottawa's like, yeah, but if you guys make it to the second round, like, can you reward us a little bit? It's like, all right. And then with Faulk, it just kind of seemed like you bent over and we're like, whatever, St. Louis, whatever you want. Just steal Berggren from me and I'll give you whatever you want. Or Justin.
I will say, I think at first glance, it was less exciting because we needed Steve to do something, and you know the water had been kind of swirling around him in the toilet for a little while, and bringing him aboard, it did kind of feel like a lot, but it also was kind of market value. It was a fringy prospect who knows if we'll ever see him. So I don't think we lost the deal. I think that's fine. I think the kind of more frustrating part, and it's hard to even gauge, is how good is this team now and what are their strengths? So we know that goal scoring at 5-on-5 is not one of their strengths, and so they didn't really do much to improve that. We're going to be counting on David Perron to come in, and he's had a not the most glamorous season. He said it himself. I don't know if I was a great fit in Ottawa. So you're going to be counting on a dude who's pretty long in the teeth, and I know that people are saying it's going to be fine for him to be on the fourth line. You are out of your mind, my friend, if you think he's not going to be playing on the first line next to Larkin and Raymond when everything's healthy. So get ready for your new top line winger and David Perron.
I don't think no. I mean,
you don't agree? You don't think he's going to be playing up there?
The thing, okay, you might be right.
Let me finish my point. So
go ahead.
I do think he's going to end up there. But what were we doing with Justin Faulk? We are closer to having an elite defensive team than we are offensive team. So if you're going to burn a first-round pick in the year of our Lord, 2026, I guess it makes more sense to try and build up a top four defensively than to throw a dart at a forward. Because it feels like we're maybe a couple forwards away, but maybe one more defenseman and then somebody figuring it out next to Eljo on the last pair, can be a playoff 6-man defense. So I did like the philosophy. It does suck, like Ken pointed out, Faulk being out there for 3 goals. But I mean, that's kind of maybe like new pairing stuff. If you got him out there with Sherratt, trying to figure, I'm going to be the offensive guy. And I think that we do see the potential in Justin scoring a little bit more than a few of the guys that we have on this roster. But I thought we were getting more of a defensive guy. So, kind of figuring out that dynamic. I'm not going to totally smoke him for that. He did score a pretty sick goal yesterday, by the way, which we have not really talked about. We have kind of globbed on all the negatives. So I understand the philosophy Steve was going for. Based on market value and based on Faulk, he's going to be here as the 4th or 5th guy next season for sure. I thought the trade deadline was a success. It's not like we saw the forwards that we were dying for, going for a bargain. Yeah, I think the super exciting, sexy stuff is, was not going to happen. I think we're mostly just circling the boat on EP40, Matt. That's what we do on Red Wings Rant here. So I don't hate it. It just, I guess we're closer to building a defense than we are an offense. So this was as close to mission accomplished as you could get.
No, I think you nailed it. Like, especially with the free agent market, like you were going to end up spending a 1st-round pick to get a right side defenseman either now, or you were going to do it at the trade, or at the draft. And the fact that you gave up a second. So basically you're saying I was going to give up a 1st-round pick to pick up a right side defenseman. To do it now, you probably gave up the second, and I guess I don't need to remember his name anymore. Bashelnikov.
Yeah.
And then you also, you dropped Hall off your team.
Nobody in the comments, and I forgot to mention it too. That was the biggest move. Hall is gone, baby. Woo! That was a big win. Big win.
But I think you nailed it, where it's like, we can't forget this is a couple of years. This is something where it's not like the defense is done getting improvements over this upcoming offseason. I think there's still a lot of positives here with the Faulk. I think just right now, it sucks to watch the standings and know that you're going to be without Kopp and Larkin for a little bit. Know that regardless of who you brought in as a right side defenseman or how little you could have spent to bring in a different right side defenseman, forget that conversation. Kopp and Larkin would still be out. Yeah. And your 5-on-5 offense is still one of the worst in the league, and you still didn't do anything there. So
maybe echoing in the words of Lamo's Dong, Why the fudge would you not want to get MBN on the line with someone who can create offense when you know he has a good shot? That's just feeding into this 5-on-5 puzzle that the Red Wings refuse to figure out. I really love the passion. I think this might be our first comment from you, and I did not want to omit that from the conversation. So I appreciate that.
No, it's a great call out. Especially if you can't really point to anything where this is figured out. So why not? Especially with MBN coming in on like a little heater in Grand Rapids. Like,
yeah. The other thing I wanted to touch on, because I feel like you and I and Whiskey are usually in agreement on stuff. And he said the Perron move was idiotic. We've needed an offensive boost most of the year. How is bringing in an injured 37-year-old for the final 12 games of the season going to help anyone?
It's not the one that made you a playoff contender.
No, I think I do understand the theory. They gave up nothing for him.
Yeah, I don't need a fourth.
And I just feel like that's one where the dudes in this chat, the dudes who host this silly show, we know that Perron plays like he cares. And I guess I would have been very surprised to see him give up both of those goals with 5 minutes to go in a dire situation where you lose a super, super important player. I just feel like he's kind of an ass kicker, and he's got the right, like, when Edvinsson witnessed Piston basketball and said, "Man, we should play tough like that." I think that's what he's going to bring, and that's what I'm counting on. Not really scoring, so that maybe in games like this, decided by two turnovers and 2 shots, Perron will kind of be there to kind of wake people up. That's what I think his role is really going to be. Not the offensive boost. I think he's going to be there to kind of be a bulldog.
Yeah, and the 3 teams that you're most likely to face in the playoffs, you've got an opportunity here with David Perron on a different line to hold on the puck for that extra 30 seconds. That's a little bit of an underrated aspect of this.
Before you knock 37-year-olds, I think Matt is are you 38 now, Matt? 37?
I'm going to be 38. Yeah, this October. Okay. Yeah, so I'm 37 right now.
Matt's 37 right now, Whiskey. How about them apples?
Do you think if I met David Perron, like he would...
You'd big boy you? Yes, I do.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to...
Hey, mister, we're the same age.
Look at me as like a baby, like a child. Okay, guys, we'll be right back. We're going to run a quick ad.
Spinoramas, Michigan goals, and those heart attack Cam Talbot sprawls across the crease. If you're living and dying with every Red Wings highlight like we are, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. They're an official sports betting partner of the NHL, and they're making the action even sweeter. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Yes, the same feeling as watching Lucas Raymond pick a corner, but for your wallet. So do what we do every game night. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-7897-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager. Tax may apply. In Illinois, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
Well, let's get right back into the comments here. Revs was saying, if we say, we got Rob Thomas, nickname So Smooth, instead of Faulk, but instead of losing Larkin Cup, we lost Ed and Mo.
It's quite the hypothetical.
It would have been a much different show because Matt and I would have been pretty excited about getting Rob Thomas.
Yeah. 6 years of Rob Thomas too.
It's probably a pretty devastating trade-off because I don't even want to know what this team would look like without Sider. That would be a complete disaster where he might give up 8 goals a game. I don't even know. I don't even want to imagine that, Revs. He was in that other bucket too with EP40. I forgot to name drop that. And Sober Heathen saying it's over. Can't hate on the trade when you see your team losing 2 centers the next 3 games. The season is donezo. This show, we're very guilty of kind of feeling the news tighten maybe a little before it could be. But on the other hand, we have been conditioned to watch Red Wing collapses for the past 3, 4, 5 consecutive seasons here. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. We just gotta last till next Thursday, and we'll get a really impactful 37-year-old, and Dylan Larkin should be back.
Sober throws out there tomorrow gonna be fugly. Whew. It might very well be. Mike, what do you think? Like let's say we pull it off.
What are we pulling off here?
Well, let's say we pull it out.
If we pull it out, what are we pulling it out of? Wait, are you saying we beat Tampa?
Yeah.
I'm going to pull one out, and then that'll be a stunning development for this Red Wing roster if we beat Tampa. Okay, go ahead with your hypothetical.
I mean, what? Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to take it. Like, where does your confidence level go with Dallas coming up next? But then, you've got huge games next week against Boston and Montreal that are really going to make the difference here in the standings and your comfortability with our position and probability of making it to the playoffs. But do you feel any better about this, or are we just really looking tomorrow, like lock it down? Let's try and get 1-0, 2-1 victory here, maybe in overtime. Or is there any way that we watch this game and we come away with like all right, maybe Todd's getting to the boys? Like, is there any way we get to that point tomorrow?
So, like a minute ago, I was just talking about the Faulk trade, and you're closer to building a defense than you are an offense. Tomorrow, a successful Red Wing game is 1-0 or 2-1. There's almost no way we score 3 goals. None. I will fall off my couch if we score more than 2 goals tomorrow. I will be pretty stunned. That's a tall order without your top 2 centers. I think, isn't that also, I guess, agreed upon by like Steve, right? With the call-ups that it's not like he's calling Lombardi up to kind of sauce up the offense a little bit. Like it looks like we're going to be going into full-on turtle mode. Guys, just try to get 1 goal in the first period, and we'll just turtle for 2 periods.
Argument could be made. I mean, John had been leading the AHL in points, John Leonard. I'm not sure where he still stands. Dries had been doing a good job, but you weren't looking at that player in your AHL system and thinking like, cool, the offense is coming down the road.
We got the sizzle coming.
Right. He's working out in the AHL right now, getting his minutes, and making the best out of them. We got a message earlier that was like how to pronounce it. Bob Kaiser from Grand Rapids. Max.
Oh, by the way, Lemuse was reminding us that Lombardi's injured. I guess what I meant by that is just something like what Matt's talked about, somebody with a little sizzle.
So I guess I'm making the argument, at least with John Leonard, Max.
Thank you, Lemo. If you got a different name, I could call you the Dong or Lemos. Just give me something there. But go ahead, Matt.
But yeah, I think I'm making the argument that at least Leonard and Max, like you're getting some offense. I don't think you're getting a ton from Dries, but at least to shore up the roster.
I had a few more comments. Man, I really like this one by Carmen, who's saying, how does McClellan not call a timeout after the tying goal? My question for that, Carmen, I like your idea. The way that we knew that this entire team was now going to be without, its top 2 like offensive quarterbacks, why not call it after the Cop injury? Like, do we put this collapse on the players, or do we give McClellan a little bit of that too? Because I don't know if he Whatever message it was, it didn't work.
Yeah. I would have liked to see him throw a bit of a stink for that too many men on the ice. Maybe try to work his way into like a power play. But didn't get that either. Actually, it was the too many men. You guys help me out. Was the too many men? Was that on the game tire or the game winner? Because then it just wouldn't have mattered then, I guess, if it was the game winner. But
Yeah.
Either way, like I don't know. It just his comments about Edvinsson after the game. It just kind of feels like what scares me is
The game
him
winner.
making an excuse, huh?
The game winner, Carmen and Revs came in for us here.
Oh, thanks, guys. It's sort of analyzing Todd McClellan's like vibe right now is what's scary because he's really run at these guys this season. We've had the jersey comment, we've had the when are you gonna step up? When is it gonna be time comment? Like game
guys
whatever,
making mistakes between
first,
I don't know what's going on between the ears. Calling
yeah.
guys dumb.
The oh god, what was our favorite one this year? They can't get to puzzle piece number 2 when he basically addressed the fact like, yeah, they can take the first puzzle piece and put it down on the table. But when you're looking for that second puzzle piece, they ain't got it. So he's run at them pretty hard. And this kind of feels like I don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't want to I love Todd. I think he's made the biggest difference here out of everybody that any player we've brought in, any of those conversations. Not asking for Todd to get fired, but I'm kind of wondering if Cop going down, Larkin being out, if Todd's just kind of like, well, can't get too mad at him because what good is that going to do at this point? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the scary part.
Well, that's what J-Dub was saying. J-Dub was saying Wings have the same problem they've had for 3 seasons now. Everyone on the roster is playing one line or pairing above their ceilings. Yes, that includes Raymond, Sider, and Larkin. J-Dub, I think that Matt and I have in some way said this every year for years now, but I would take Sider out of there.
Yeah.
I do think he's a legit number 1, but
J-Dub, you might be a little frustrated, but I to defend J-Dub just for a second here.
Yeah.
You're running a hot diarrhea 5-on-5 offense. And you have been for almost the entire season. So it's it could be tough if you were like, if J-Dub was like, all right, fine, prove it. Show me where this team is at least average on 5-on-5. And we can't really produce the evidence. We can't do it.
J-Dub,
so I do disagree with you, J-Dub, but I could call that out for you while you can't call in right now or say anything.
He's cooking tonight because he said Perron was entirely a locker room thing. But you need to be able to play to be in the locker room. Preach, brother, preach.
I like Casey throws out there, when you say the season is not over, I feel like the Dumb and Dumber quote. So you're saying there's still a chance.
Well, it's like there literally is, right? We're not the like 8th dropping a 9th. We're still kind of right in that murky 5, 6, 7 range. And we know at least that this is not the best version of the Red Wings, right? With this roster, it is missing 2, arguably 2.5. I'm not going to call Perron a full important person. 2.5 very important pieces of this roster are not playing. But again, we've been saying it for years. J-Dub was kind of touching on it. It's insane that like 2 injuries and this team is over. You know what I mean? I know it's Larkin, but we had no contingency plan. So it's, I mean, if we want to smoke anybody, it's probably a little bit of Rass and a little bit of Yzerman today. Speaking of that, Emily was saying Mr. Yzerman bet on D being the need. Emily, I'm not sure when you came into the show. Welcome. That's what I thought he was betting on, right? Because we were closer to building a good defense rather than a good offense because, we're like right on like 11, 12 in terms of like giving up goals a game. But for scoring, we're like a bottom third team. So it would have taken a pretty significant overhaul to kind of, get us back at the top.
So yeah,
it still feels too like when we were trying to figure out if John Gibson's a good goalie or not. Well, it's like first we got to figure out if these guys know how to play defense, right? And we had all those goofy mistakes. ASP was still figuring things out. Edvinsson was making some rough mistakes, and then those guys kind of cleaned that up a little bit. We went, holy crap, we might have one of the best goalies in the league. So now our defense could be decent, but it's tough when you don't have your top two centers, driving the play. So it's. I just wish this didn't feel like an experiment. We just felt like a good team that didn't have to rely on immaculate health to win hockey games, which is across sports. It's an insane ask to think you're going to get immaculate health. It's insane. Anyway,
Whiskey throws out there. No, I totally agree. We've been talking about it for years. That's why every offseason we're like, maybe this will be the year we do a big splash to bring in some elite talent.
You know what? Because like the Pistons have gone on winning streaks without their top 3-4 players. Winning streaks against other NBA teams. Like, God, the Lions. I know they didn't make the playoffs this year, but they won football games with the Legion of Whom. Literally guys who are unemployed like the week before, and they find ways to come out on top. This team, one injury, and it's just a catastrophic collapse. It's wild that this team just can't. They can't do it. I don't know what it is.
I'm looking at the roster right now. It's. Oh my God.
Speaking of looking at the roster, Palt _. Welcome. Saying the contingency was Thomas. It's too late. We got to revisit that later.
All right. Here's Puckpedia does their cops out. So it's just like sort of a random fill. But DeBrincat, Comfer, Kane. We ran that line last year. That's fine. It's not a first line, but it's a line.
Yeah.
Then Finney, Casper, Sweet Baby Ray. Then MBN, Rasmussen, and Mason Appleton. And then JVR, Sheldon Dries, and Dom Shine. Oh, and for what's essentially looked at as like a healthy scratch, put Trail Max or Leonard in there somewhere. It's not. It's not good.
I guess. Do you remember what I know that it came up briefly. Do you remember what the asking price was for Trocheck? Not that he's an end all be all, but
I
know it was like a first and a dude and a prospect. Was it something else?
I thought it was 3 major assets.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still gonna harp on this because I can't believe the ask. Like, I'm just curious how much of a difference it is to have Justin Faulk or Connor Murphy when Connor required 1 second-round pick and Faulk required, prospect, salary, and a first rounder. And then you could have used that, the other ammunition for a forward like Trocheck.
We could have pulled in Connor Murphy after we had traded Edvinsson for Hughes.
For Avenue Q. We're not going to say that name. He's he who shall not be named except for Avenue Q.
This team would be insanely different right now.
You mean we might be climbing the standings like Minnesota? How dare you? How dare you? Sober thrown in there. I've been bitching about not getting Garland for a minute. The price was right. We didn't do it. I think.
Connor Garland. Yeah, that was.
What's interesting, Sober, is last year. Do you remember that press conference where Yzerman was like, well, what did you want me to do? Well, now we could kind of see what you could have done, right? There were other dudes who were available for comparable value that, what you gave up for Faulk. So if they don't make the playoffs, I think we got some real receipts for Steve to kind of shut him up when he's doing those smug press conferences. Like nobody could have fixed this team, which is basically what he's saying. Nobody could have fixed that bag of crap. There's just a beater of a car. It's terrible. There's nothing you could have done. So it's going to be very interesting if this doesn't pan out, Steve. Very interesting. Whiskey throwing out there. Just wondering, Matt, Perron for a fourth who can't play, or Garland for a third who has 5 goals in his 3 games. That's a Blue Jacket. Matt, your thoughts?
Why not both?
Hey, look at this guy.
I really do not.
Mr. Vegas, wheeling and dealing.
I do not mind the Perron deal. I think that is the last thing I'm going to worry.
I am not him. The problem is Steve putting our offense on him.
I don't think that's what that was.
I'm saying that as far as like a new forward to help this team that badly needs help scoring goals. That was it.
If that is the case.
Otherwise, he's just throwing in the towel. This is all we need. We're good on offense. We just need a dude to kind of bump around the other team and play a little defense.
If Larkin comes back and Kopp is back, and the first thing that happens is David Perron is on the first line,
it's going to happen.
I think we can legitimately say it's time to fire Steve. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Jared, clip this moment. Clip it.
I'm saying it right now. If that does happen, if they're like, yeah, this is what the ideal roster looks like, David Perron on your first line, then then we're at that moment where it's like, okay, Steve literally has no idea how to put a roster together at this point. That's right. But I don't think that's the case. I don't know how any of the Steve bots could come to me and say, you just don't understand hockey. David Perron's a great first line winger. Even the Steve bots can't. When you get to that point where a president, you're like, even the conservatives can't defend this. And they're starting to come. Like at that point, if David Perron gets inserted on the first line.
Man? Even the guy who can't think says something. How about that? Let's hit a few more. They're coming in hot. Emily asking or saying, it's been said that being above 500 after the break would be good enough. That's still real. Can we even do that? I think the problem is that we had those games in hand, so we had artificially inflated our standings, our standings in the standings. So it could be enough. We're not tracking to meet that though. So remains to be seen, Emily. Carmen saying if Steve had addressed the defense in the last 2 off seasons, maybe then he could have done something to boost the offense. I mean, he did try guys. He just tried guys that most people weren't also bidding on.
Yeah, I just, I don't want to turn this into the...
Oh, man, Whiskey. Talking about Avenue Q receipts. Could have picked up Carson... Was it Saucy? The day after Edvinsson, Susie got hurt for a 4th. I remember that day. That was a fascinating day. And Whiskey continued, that would have stopped the losing streak before he went into the break. Steve was content to give points away. Whiskey, it's almost unfair to give you nominations for comments of the episode, but that is a really good one. Because often with Steve's comments, often with Steve's transactions, often with his management of this team, guys, it's an eternity to build a hockey team. There's no urgency, which is such a loser way to think. There is no tomorrow, man. Like them flitting away those points as if they didn't matter when there was real cheap, no-cost dudes right there available. Guy, I don't want him. I want a 4th-round pick. I don't even know I'm going to draft with the 4th round. I'm just going to miss my pick, and the next team will take my 4th rounder. Doesn't even matter. We could have had immediate help. And this is just emblematic of the Steve process when managing a hockey team. No urgency.
I saw Mike, no lie. What is it? It's March 11th, 2026. I saw somebody post the last Ken Holland roster today as a rebuttal to how hard it is to be an NHL GM. We got to be done with that, right? Like, when are we done with that? Good gravy. That one's got to stop.
Those are comments. Those are comments from people who have like a signed 1997 Steve Yzerman hockey card. Like you're just worshiping his last name. This is not good.
Yeah.
Let's hit a few more comments again. They're coming in hot. J-Dub saying everyone says Yzerman will only leave because he wants to. All right. I do think he takes a more hands-off job at the end of his contract. I do too. I've kind of heard some whisperings from people doing whispering about him just working like for the main office in the NHL. Just wondering, did you suggest Garland told Vancouver, I won't play for Detroit. Send me to Ohio. Straight to jail. Paul thrown in there. Yzerman has to shift gears a bit, saving picks like we're starting a rebuild. Picks and prospects should have been used to get a package from St. Louis. Paul, you will get no pushback from this show.
Yeah. I'm on board.
I can't even imagine. The only thing I would have done, Paul, was maybe put a little tiny protection on the 1st round pick. But that's just me. Whiskey
Sober Heathen is sober. I gotta say, at the start of this episode, I think we had you like you were at a pretty good
comment of the episode. Sober, my lord, our prospects are so good. We bring them up, they don't do shit. Oh, sober. Oh, off the top rope.
No, that's sober. That one tickled me. I feel like we had you at like an even keel, like you were in a pretty good mood when this episode started, and we just made you angrier. Colonel Ludlow, Faulk trade was stupid, unprotected first, and Bisheldikov, who is on the top 10 of under 22 scoring in the KHL all time. Look, some protection would have been nice. I think the execution, having Faulk on the team is not a bad thing. I think the execution to get it there is kind of where the failure. I just don't know who we blame that for, Mike.
I think St. Louis negotiated from a place of power, knowing that Detroit was going to burn Little Caesars to the ground if Steve had another shutout at the deadline. So they could kind of be like, yeah, we'll take a first, and I think we'll take that Russian kid too. And luckily, Steve, at least he threw in Hall. Colonel Ludlow.
Well, so can you
try to soften the blow there?
I would remind everyone on trade deadline day, I did call out like the Pronmans and the Wheelers have made their point. Like, I'm not paying attention to Bisheldikov because I don't see it. So
he's a little fella, and it's going to be hard to get him out of Russia. So don't. I know it's frustrating, Colonel. I know it's frustrating, but maybe that's what's going on. But I got to call out Andre 300, which I am on my hands and knees praying it's an Outcast reference. What a name. What a handle. Andre 300. Love that. Steve needs to put the bong down. It's distorting his sense of time. This rebuild is taking far too long. Incredible, Andre, that one of the biggest defenders of Steve Yzerman is the most notorious bong owner in Red Wing history, in Darren McCarty. So an interesting take there, Andre 300.
I like Colonel coming in. Ken Holland was ass. He was made to be good by the work of Jimmy D and Jim Nill. Hey, look at Dallas. They're like, hey, we'll just build a new team in one single draft. Please and thank you. Now we're legit. Like, whoo. Yeah, Ken Holland went and destroyed the LA Kings, and now they're not in such a great position.
No. J-Dub coming in again. The thing that destroyed Toronto's build was the cap freezing right when contracts came up. I think the Wings ran into the opposite problem. Another year of frozen cap would have shaken someone loose.
That's interesting.
That's some good
we
food
at
for
least
thought. Yeah.
We're at least gonna run, not this upcoming season, but as we go down the line, those contracts for Sider and Raymond are really going to save us when it comes to bringing more guys in, and of course trying to keep some of these guys. It's funny. We've talked a couple of times about guys we could trade for, and it was like, oh, you gotta save room for that Edvinsson extension. I don't think that one's gonna be a problem, Mike. I think we'll fit Edvinsson in no problem. I think we'll be good. I'm not saying he's terrible, but
yeah.
Are we watching this? Like, again, he's not terrible, but he's not going to break the bank. We'll be fine.
Whiskey thrown out there. Wait a minute. Who's under the assumption that drafting two-way forwards every first round was going to lead to awesome offense in the NHL? This is exactly what I expected when these guys made it.
Wow, Whiskey. Oh, God damn.
What's funny about that, Whiskey, is I love my Detroit basketball. I love my Pistons. But when Cade's not out there, there's a lot of guys on the three-point line, and they just pass back and forth to each other because nobody wants to take a shot. And, man, are they really good defenders. But when it's offensive time, I don't know what to do without Cade. It does feel like we have an abundance of deferrals, right?
No, I mean, the problem right now is that we said out loud, like, good thing.
Shut up, Jared. Sweet, you guys are still on. Had to run out. This show never ends, Jared. Matt, go ahead.
The problem we're going to run into is that we said out loud, hey, we drafted some guys that could fit similar roles, so now we'll be good to get rid of one. And here we are. They're all still here. The gang's all here, Mike.
Oh, man.
Draw our little faces on our fingies.
Yeah, I'm just, I think part of the appeal with the trade deadline too is like, I know that you could make the argument that the prices get tough, right? Because they're like, oh man, these guys are up against it. Maybe we can ask for Buchelnikov and not just the first rounder from Steve. But when you go in the off season, it's like, man, you got teams that just lost, so they want to reset, and you got teams on the cusp of the playoffs, so they want to try and make a move to get up there. It just feels like now, if we're going to be trying to make moves for Rob Thomas, like the whole NHL's resetting now. Now everybody's back in on it, and the Blues might make some moves to upgrade their team. They're like, yeah, we don't even want to move them anymore. We're going to be fine. So that's why it kills me that Steve just loves to operate slow and steady, but it doesn't appear to be winning the race, Steve.
Have you thought about how nice and warm and cozy it is to have all these teams on either side of you, Mike, all the time? You just get to be sandwiched right in the middle of that division.
I bet like teams like Colorado hate it because there's no one above them, Probably get lonely up there.
Man, when Florida wins the draft lottery this year and they pull in McKenna, what do you do? Like, you're not winning this division. They took what did they call what Chaos called it? It's the farmer year where you like refeed your dirt. Like you're not gonna do any you're not growing any plants.
Is that tilling the soil? No, that's not tilling the soil.
No, furlough year comes to mind, but I don't know if that's.
I know what you're saying. You take a season off to let the soil kind of recoup, and then you grow on other plots essentially. Yeah,
and they have all those affordable superstars. Oh my God, I don't know what you do with this division after that. You you feel like you're legit falling behind Buffalo at this point, or are they just there's a part of me that kind of sees Buffalo like all their underlying numbers kind of suck ass. I don't know. They could just be hitting at the right time. Eisel throws out there fallow. Did I just say it wrong? Fallow. Yep. Casey's got fallow. Hey, look at that. There we go. I got it.
Man,
Woo!
Look at this group of guys. You got a bunch of farmers out here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good job, guys.
My dudes. Some green thumbs out here in Red Wings Rant World.
J-Dub. He's already proven he can beat someone's ass in a bar fight. It's like he was made to play for Maurice. Oh, great. Good vibes all the way down to Florida.
I'm so proud of this group chat for 3 or 4 people swinging in with the fallow. I'm so proud.
Rebs thrown out there. I'll tell you what we do. We're going to re-sign David Perron, Mike. We're going to shore up that first line. Bring Perron back to the glory days. Now, Mike, do you give Perron just the 1 year so he's easier to move at the trade deadline next year?
I think what we do is we are Kurt Russell in the movie Miracle. You bring Perron back. You do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again until he's 48 years old. You just keep bringing him back to shore up that locker room.
Just wonderful. Colonel thrown out there. Nice little reminder. Alex Lyon is third in the NHL in save percentage as he leads Buffalo to first place in the Atlantic Division. You know, that's just more proof that there's been way too much focus on goaltenders every single offseason. It is.
This is Matt's working
voodoo.
Theory on Goodoo. There you go. I said a Goodoo. Goalie voodoo. Goodoo. Well, we had a few questions here. Because we gotta ride off into the sunset. We always make these episodes too long. They're so long that Jared can leave and come back, and we're still talking. Can Detroit hold on to the wild card spot? This version of the roster, no. But I am interested to see what we look like with the return of Larkin, Andrew Kopp, and the re-debuting of David Perron.
You want to see that re-debut on the first line? You know, when we first picked up David Perron,
does he get the I'm coming home? I'm coming home.
Of course.
I'm coming home.
I remember throwing such a stink where I was like, a playoff team does not bring in David Perron to put him in the top 6. And that was like what we were doing. We were like reading those Max Boltman articles and he was putting the roster together. And I was like, I don't hate David Perron, but a winning team does not put David Perron in the top 6. Mike, if we traded for David Perron to put him in the top 6, I'm going to fucking lose it. All right. Same question, basically. Can the roster survive the injuries? Well, yeah, I mean, they're not going to off themselves. So, but I think these questions really weren't for us to answer right now. It's just like, we're at the point now. These questions are legit. Did the approach at the deadline backfire? Can the roster survive these injuries? Like, did Steve do enough at the deadline to give us a roster that could sustain itself after 2 injuries? And then there's the can Detroit hold on to the wild card spot? So, I
think the roster could have survived some injuries, but man, oh man, you can't lose Larkin for 1 game. It's like a guaranteed loss without him.
Florida's down Barkov, Seth Jones, Sam Reinhart, Brad Marchand. Ekblad's hurt. We played Tarasov last night. We didn't even play Bobrovsky. And we blew it.
So a couple people were just worried about depends on when Larkin comes back. I thought that McClellan did say we'd probably have him around the same time as Perron's return, if not earlier.
Doubtful for the rest of the trip. So I think they learned something about his injury. But
so that's he's coming back for the home games, right?
Hopefully. Maybe. They still got to sell those tickets, Mike. They're not going to tell you now. Those are big games. Dylan Larkin might come back. Dan B giving us permission to go home, hug the kids.
It's okay. Andre 300. I just want to keep reading that handle. It's such a great name. Perron and Faulk at the deadline. It's like dollar store gifts from your crazy Aunt Kathy at Christmas. Thanks, I guess. They got to use, but there's better stuff out there.
We have a crazy Aunt Kathy.
We do.
Oh, should I not?
Oh, there you go.
Reel that one back in. Whoopsies.
You can always fix that in post. Jared, fix that in post.
Jared, can you hit that one up? All right, let's sail off. Do we have any Piston games to watch tonight, or are they back?
We gotta wait till tomorrow.
Great. It's always good to know.
I will say that you guys, tomorrow is still going to be a fascinating game. It's going to be fascinating.
I can't wait.
They try to punch for one goal and then turtle for the next 45 minutes.
It's going to say a lot about how much I need to care, I feel like, over the weekend, at least. But I'm really excited to watch it. There's a lot of doom and gloom in this episode, but there clearly was a good team that went to New Jersey and won 3-0. Goes along with what Steve wanted to build here and what your argument was for bringing in Justin Faulk. But, and you had 2 periods and
change
50 minutes,
right? Where we were out playing Florida,
Jesus.
Right? And then one injury, we had no stamina. We just completely collapsed. So maybe with a full complement of forwards, punch one goal in against Tampa, then just buckle down the hatches. I think every shift that Sider's out there, just put him next to Gibson, and they can't get pucks by him.
You're going to have Hagel running at Gibson the entire game.
We just sumo wrestler the goalie, like the net. Just put all your girth right in the net.
How mad are we going to be if we have to watch that game and they just run Gibson the whole time? Like Nathan McKinnon was doing against Edmonton. And Hagel's been doing... Let's not answer new questions. We got to go. Guys, thanks for coming aboard. We will see you guys hopefully next week talking about our 4-game win streak. Woo! All right.
Let's go.
Put that money down, guys.
Let's go.
Straight from Red Wings Rant recommendations.